The quiet desperation of being an employee. Most people don't realize they're stuck. They wake up, they rush, they commute, they work, they come home tired, they sleep. And then they repeat the same cycle for years, not because they're lazy, not because they lack intelligence, but because they were taught one powerful idea since childhood. Get a good job and you'll be safe. At first it feels right. A steady paycheck, a title, a sense of belonging, a routine. But slowly, quietly, something starts to feel off. You begin to notice that no matter how hard you work, your life barely changes. Your salary increases, but so do your expenses. Your responsibilities grow, but your freedom shrinks. And deep down, a dangerous thought appears. Is this really it? The invisible prison. Being an employee isn't slavery. It's something worse. It's comfortable limitation. You're paid just enough not to quit. You're kept busy enough not to think. You're rewarded just enough to stay hopeful. But here's the brutal truth no one tells you. Your job will never make you rich because you are paid based on time, not value. And time is finite. The moment that changes everything. Every future millionaire entrepreneur remembers this moment. It's not dramatic, it's not loud. It usually happens while sitting in traffic, while watching a boss you don't respect, while seeing someone else living the life you want. You realize something terrifying. You are building someone else's dream better than your own. And once that realization hits, you can never unsee it. Why hard work is not enough. This is where most people get confused. They think, if I just work harder, I'll get ahead. But hard work without ownership leads to burnout, not wealth. Employees are rewarded for following instructions, avoiding mistakes, staying in their lane. Entrepreneurs are rewarded for solving problems, taking risks, creating leverage. Same effort, very different outcomes. The first internal shift, very important. Before money changes, before businesses, before million-dollar ideas, your identity must change. You stop seeing yourself as an employee trying to get rich and start seeing yourself as a future entrepreneur temporarily employed. That shift alone changes how you learn, spend time, make decisions, choose opportunities. You don't quit your job yet. You outgrow it mentally first. The seed of the entrepreneur. At this stage, you are still an employee, but something is different. You start asking new questions. How does money really work? Why do some people scale while others struggle? How do businesses make money without trading hours? You start watching different content, reading different books, thinking long-term. The seed is planted, and once planted, it demands growth. If you're watching this and you feel uncomfortable, if something inside you feels restless, if you sense that your current life cannot be the final chapter, that's not fear, that's awakening. And this moment, is where the journey from employee to millionaire entrepreneur truly begins. The mindset shift that separates employees from entrepreneurs. The biggest mistake people make is believing entrepreneurship starts with money. It doesn't. It starts with how you think. Before a single dollar is earned, before a single business is built, the millionaire entrepreneur has already changed internally. And this is where most people fail. Quietly. The two worlds. Employees and entrepreneurs don't live in the same mental world. They wake up to the same alarm. They breathe the same air, but they interpret reality completely differently. An employee sees a job as security. An entrepreneur sees it as training. An employee avoids risk. An entrepreneur studies it. An employee asks, what do I need to do today? An entrepreneur asks, what system can I build that works without me? This difference is subtle, but it changes everything. From time to value. Here is the most important shift you must make. Stop thinking in hours. Start thinking in value. Employees are paid for time. Entrepreneurs are paid for results. If you work twice as long at a job, you get tired. not rich. If you create something that helps 10 people, then 100, then 10,000. Your income multiplies without multiplying your effort. That's leverage. Why most people never cross this line? Because the employee mindset feels safe. It says, wait until you're ready. Don't fail publicly. Stay where you're needed. But growth doesn't happen in safety. It happens in uncertainty. And entrepreneurs learn to become comfortable being uncomfortable. The millionaire question. Employees ask, what's my job? Entrepreneurs ask, what problem do I solve and who will pay for it? This question rewires your brain. You stop chasing promotions. You start chasing problems worth solving, because problems are where money lives. The truth about risk. This will change you. Most people think entrepreneurs are reckless. They're not. They're calculated. Employees risk one thing, their job. Entrepreneurs risk many things. Reputation, comfort, time. Ego, but here's the twist. The biggest risk is staying somewhere that limits your growth. Millionaires don't avoid risk. They avoid stagnation. Thinking in systems. Employees focus on tasks. Entrepreneurs focus on systems. A task ends. A system repeats. Millionaires build sales systems, content systems, hiring systems, automation systems. Because once a system works, it prints results again and again. This is how effort becomes scalable. The internal declaration. At this stage, you don't announce anything. No quitting, no big speeches, no social media posts. You make a silent decision. I will no longer think like an employee. From that moment, you learn faster. You observe smarter. You use your job as a classroom. You're still employed. But mentally, you've already left. If you haven't changed how you think, no strategy will save you. But once your mindset shifts, every book becomes a weapon. Every failure becomes data. Every day becomes training. Building skills that turn employees into income machines. Millionaire entrepreneurs are not special. They are useful. They learned something the world needs, and they learned how to deliver it at scale. This is the phase where most people hesitate, but it's also where income becomes possible without quitting your job. The truth about money. Money doesn't reward effort. Money rewards problem-solving, skill mastery, value creation. If your skill cannot make money, save time, reduce pain, it will never make you wealthy. That's not negativity, that's clarity. The high-income skill. Rule 1. High-income skill can change your life. Not 10, not everything. 1. Millionaire entrepreneurs focus. They choose skills that are in demand, can be learned independently, scale with leverage. Examples: sales, copywriting, digital marketing, video editing, coding design, business development, automation. These skills don't disappear in recessions. They multiply in value. Why most employees never escape? Because after work, they rest. After work, future entrepreneurs invest. They don't scroll endlessly, they don't complain, they build. Evenings, weekends, early mornings. Not forever, just long enough to change trajectory. The learning framework, very important. Don't learn like a student, learn like a weapon builder. Follow this loop. 1. Learn the basics. 2. Apply immediately. 3. Fail fast. 4. Improve. 5. Repeat. No perfection, no endless courses. Action creates clarity. From skill to confidence. The moment you can deliver value, confidence appears. Not fake motivation, real confidence. You stop asking, am I good enough? You start asking, who needs this? This is how identity shifts again. Your job is your training ground. Don't waste your job. Use it. Learn how businesses make money. Observe systems. Study leadership failures. Understand customer behavior. You're being paid to study. That's leverage. The first money feels different when you earn money outside your salary. Something snaps. Your brain realizes income is not limited to one source. That moment is irreversible. You're no longer an employee hoping to escape. You're an entrepreneur in formation. Skills are the bridge from dependence to independence, from employee to entrepreneur. And once the bridge is built, the only question left is, will you cross it, turning skills into a real side business without quitting your job? This is the stage where dreams stop being abstract. This is where you stop saying, one day, and start saying, I'm building something. Not loudly, not publicly, but consistently. The biggest fear, and why it's normal. Most employees never start a side business for one reason: fear of looking stupid, fear of failing publicly, charging money, being rejected. But here's the truth. You don't need confidence to start. You need courage to begin badly. Every millionaire started awkward. Every first offer was imperfect. Every early client was a lesson. Why side businesses win? Side businesses are powerful because you keep income stability. You reduce emotional pressure. You can experiment safely. Pressure kills creativity. Stability fuels smart risk. That's how real entrepreneurs are built. The simple side business formula. Don't overcomplicate this. Side businesses are built on 1. A skill, 2. A problem, 3. A person willing to pay. That's it. No fancy branding, no complex tech, just value. How to get your first client. You don't need followers. You don't need a website. You don't need permission. You need outreach. Offer help, solve a problem. Charge fairly. Your first client won't be perfect. That's the point. They're not paying for perfection. They're paying for progress. The first payment changes you. Your first payment feels different from a salary. It's proof. Proof that someone trusted you. Your skill has value. You can create income. That moment breaks mental chains. You stop asking, can I do this? You start asking, how far can this go? Managing time without burning out. You don't hustle blindly. You create rules, fixed work hours, clear priorities, ruthless focus, quality over chaos. This is how entrepreneurs last. Why most side businesses fail? Because people quit too early. They expect instant results. They panic after rejection. They compare themselves to experts. Millionaires don't. They expect failure. They welcome feedback. They improve. Quietly. The moment you become dangerous, once your side income matches your expenses, covers essentials, grows consistently, you gain options, and options are power. You haven't quit your job yet, but something has changed. You're no longer waiting to be chosen. You're building something of your own, and once that begins, there is no going back. The identity death. When the employee version of you begins to fade. Nobody warns you about this part. They teach you skills. They teach you strategy. They teach you how to make money. But they don't tell you what happens inside when you start outgrowing your old life. The strange discomfort. At first, it feels exciting. You're earning on the side. You're learning fast. You're building momentum. But then, a quiet discomfort appears. You no longer fully belong where you used to. Conversations feel shallow. Complaints sound louder. Excuses feel heavier. Not because you're better, but because you're changing. Outgrowing your environment. This is painful. You start noticing friends who mock ambition, colleagues who fear change, family who worry instead of believe. And suddenly, you feel alone. Not physically, mentally. This is the price of growth. Why this pain is necessary. The employee identity is built on external validation, stability. Following rules, the entrepreneur identity is built on internal conviction, uncertainty, self-trust. They cannot coexist peacefully. One must die, not violently, quietly. The guilt phase. This part hurts. You feel guilty for wanting more, guilty for thinking differently, guilty for not being satisfied. But ambition is not betrayal. It's honesty. Doubt gets louder here. This is when the questions attack. Who do you think you are? What if you fail? Why can't you just be content? Understand this. Doubt is loud when you're close to transformation. If you weren't growing, it wouldn't show up. The silent decision. There is a night, late, quiet, no music, no motivation video, just you and the truth. And you decide, I can't go back, even if it's scary, even if it's slow, even if it's lonely. That decision changes everything. The new identity emerges. You stop seeking approval, you stop explaining your dreams, you stop arguing with people who don't see the vision. You work quietly, you think long-term, you move differently, you're still learning. But now, you believe. The employee version of you didn't fail. It served its purpose, it paid bills, it taught discipline, it built the foundation. But it was never meant to be the final version. This is not loss. This is evolution. Scaling how millionaire entrepreneurs build leverage. Working harder got you here. But working harder will not take you to millions. Millionaires don't win by exhaustion. They win by leverage. The 4 types of leverage. Every millionaire entrepreneur uses at least one of these, usually more. One-time leverage and people. Employees do everything themselves. Entrepreneurs build teams, not big at first, just enough. Delegation is uncomfortable because it feels like losing control. But control is expensive. Freedom is scalable. 2 system leverage, processes. If your business needs you every minute, you don't own a business, you own a job. Millionaires build repeatable processes, clear workflows, simple rules. Systems turn chaos into consistency. 3. Capital leverage, money. Money is a tool. Millionaires don't worship it. They deploy it. They invest in ads talent, tools growth. Money used wisely creates more money. 4. Media leverage, attention. This is the modern advantage. Content scales influence. Influence scales trust. Trust scales revenue. Millionaires understand attention before money. The first scale. Fear. Scaling feels dangerous. More customers, more responsibility, more risk. But stagnation is riskier. This is where many entrepreneurs shrink. Millionaires expand carefully, but boldly. Hiring your first help. Your first hire is emotional. You're trusting someone with your vision. You won't do it perfectly. That's okay. Leadership is learned by doing. Removing yourself from the center. This is the real shift. You stop asking, what do I need to do? You start asking, what should never depend on me? That's freedom architecture. Why most businesses never scale, because founders cling to control. They fear mistakes, they fear spending, they fear letting go. But growth requires trust. Scaling isn't about becoming bigger, it's about becoming lighter. Less stress, more clarity, more impact. And when leverage clicks, you stop chasing money. Money starts chasing systems you built. Money, wealth, and the final shift. By now, something important has happened. You no longer chase money the way you used to. You understand it, and understanding changes your relationship with wealth forever. Income versus wealth. Most people never learn this. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what stays. Employees focus on income. Millionaires focus on cash flow, assets, equity, ownership money that works, even when they don't. The moment you realize you've won, it's not when you hit a number, it's when. Bills no longer control your emotions. Time feels abundant. Decisions are strategic, not desperate. That's freedom. Why millionaires stay calm? Because they don't rely on one stream. They diversify. Businesses, investments, skills, networks. Calm comes from optionality. The shift from more to meaning. At this level, money stops exciting you. Impact does. You start asking, Who can I help? What can I build that lasts? What legacy am I creating? This is the entrepreneur's second awakening. The responsibility of wealth. Money amplifies who you already are. That's why millionaires choose values early. Integrity scales. Greed implodes. The real millionaire habit. Not spending, not luxury, long-term thinking. Millionaires think in decades. They act daily. You're no longer becoming a millionaire. You already think like one. Money will catch up. It always does. From employee to millionaire entrepreneur. Once you waited for permission. You waited for approval, for safety, for the right moment. But somewhere along the way, you stopped waiting. You didn't wake up one day a millionaire. You woke up many days disciplined. You didn't become fearless. You became courageous. You didn't escape the system overnight. You outgrew it step by step. Look back and forward. Look at where you started. An employee trading time for certainty, following rules you didn't write, building dreams that weren't yours. Now look at who you are, a creator, a builder, a thinker, someone who understands leverage, value, and ownership, someone who knows freedom is built, not given. The real definition of a millionaire. It was never about the number. It was about control over your time, confidence in your ability, clarity in your direction. Money is simply the scoreboard. To the person watching this, if you're still employed, good. That's not a weakness. It's your training phase. If you're scared, good. That means you care. If you feel behind, you're not. You're early. The final truth. No one is coming to save you, and that's not bad news. That's power, because it means your future is in your hands. Your income is expandable. Your potential is uncapped. From employee to entrepreneur to millionaire is not luck. It is decision after decision, made when no one is watching. Build quietly, learn relentlessly, think long-term, act daily. And one day, you won't need motivation videos anymore. You'll be living the proof.